Hello and what is up, everybody? Welcome to DC vs VG.J Game 2, and we're back with some live casting for you guys in the Starseries Season 3 Losers Bracket. Whoever loses this match will get eliminated from the tournament, and DC are already one game behind of VG.J. Let's just get right into it. DC going for the IO here. I don't think it was touched or banned by VG.J last game. I'm pretty sure it wasn't. I think they banned the Meepo instead. Yeah, now this time they're going for the Coddle because DC not banning it out. So they got the IO here. Batrider is a pretty good hero to go with him, but it felt like DC had some problems executing the last game, and IO is kind of a hero that requires a lot of coordination and execution to pull off really well. VG here just picking up the Sand King and Warlock, not really much in their first phase, but they have the counter initiation for any type of relocate gank or even just a Batrider lasso.
10 seconds to go.
We look at the bans here from VG.J. They get rid of Ember Spirit. We didn't have the best showing on him, but deeming him as a strong hero still, they're still going to respect it, of course, not just allowing them to play Ember again just because we lost mid pretty hard to Freeze in the last game. He got outplayed as well throughout the entire game, where he just got initiated on, taken out before he can get his Remnant out a lot of times. And DC here taking out the Weaver. That's a hero that's it's very annoying to play against, especially as an IO. You're going to take out the Lifestealer as well.
Radiant's pick.
The way VG.J played that last draft with the Lifestealer slaughter is something that DC need to be scared at. They picked a draft that was pretty strong against it, but even with the Terrorblade, the multiple disables through Rage, didn't matter. VG.J still took over the game, and they just were very explosive once the Slaughter and the Magnus got both their blinks up, and DC just didn't really catch it in time. They kind of played as if they were still safe and sound, but they got ran at, and without their ultimates, without the fighting capability at that point in time, they lost a huge advantage and ended up losing the game because of it. But of course, this is a new game, and we'll see what either team decide to go with here. The VG.J, they still have a lot of options for what they could go. I think it would be nice if they picked some type of roaming hero here for FY. They're gonna just go with Freeze Jug again.
Dyer's pick.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. His Jug was very good that last game, and he laned very well mid against Wii, doubling him up in last hits pretty much and keeping up his farm the entire game. And of course, he had a Magnus to help him out there, but he made some sick plays as well.
5 seconds.
And what can DC go? They go with a Rubik here. Solid pickup. There's a lot of good spells for him to steal. I mean, potential Warlock ultimate. You can steal Sand King stun, spin, Omni Slash, healing ward. All these are good spells for him at this point. And with the third pick Rubik, you kind of can gauge whether
10 seconds to go.
You want him to or what spells he can get.
5 seconds.
Or whether you put him in a position 4, position 5 role. I mean, I guess with IO, he's probably going to take more of a position 5. I mean, it depends on the lineup, the player, how the early game goes, but I'm assuming IO is going to play position 5 while Rubik is going to be the 4 of this game. And if he can get Blink, there's good things he can do. Having that instant disable onto Jug before he can get his spin off is definitely helpful as well. Maybe he can set up relocate or lasso or something like that. Back to VG.J, I think they definitely want the roamer here.
10 seconds to go.
Maybe not. Maybe we could go Slaughter again. Maybe they can go for like some Invis hero, Ricky, or the Bounty Hunter. Instead, they're just going to get their Storm Spirit, showing it now. Fourth pick Storm Spirits, not afraid of what mid's gonna come out from DC. So will Freeze take Storm this game and give Jug away to aggressive? I mean, I'm assuming that's how it's gonna go.
5
And
seconds.
VG.J look like they're confident right now in their draft. They just don't care. They shown that in the last game that they're able to beat DC, even though DC had, in my opinion, a lot better draft as long as they played it correctly. They're just gonna pick Storm Spirit, a hero that can just snowball, and they're gonna depend on their ability to just outplay
10
DC,
seconds to go.
call their movements, and make the right plays,
5
stopping
seconds.
them from doing what they want. Last ban from VG.J being an Ursa.
Banned.
DC here, they still have the option to ban like an offlaner or support, because we don't know where the Sand King is going right now. It could be either ROTK or FY Sand King. I actually think it's FY Sand King. He was known for that hero all the way back
10
about like
seconds
2
to go.
years ago, where he was making magic happen with his Sand
5
King,
seconds.
getting very fast blinks up. And we saw that last game too, where he was kind of behind on his blink
Reserve
dagger, but
time.
he got it up, and it definitely made the difference for VG.J. And DC probably thinking about that now, whether they want to take out an offlaner or potentially another FY hero, but I'm pretty sure the Sand King will be FY, so they're thinking of how they can hit ROTK right now. Maybe Magnus once again, as he ran it in the last game, and it does go well, pretty well with Jug. Still, that they have this game helps them set up for a potential Warlock Golem too. And DC's draft really dependent on creating chaos, as their name says. They pick a Tiny and a Bat Rider. They're really dependent on pickoffs. Their team fighting is not the best. It's actually very bad actually right now. They're completely pickoff oriented with an IO. And Soap DC go for the mag ban,
Dyer's
realizing
pick.
it is a potential pick for VG.J. Now they have the option to pick their last hero, and they need a carry here, and it needs to be a carry that can either fit with their draft in
10
terms of getting
seconds to
pickoffs,
go.
or just, alright, they're going to go with an
Radiant's
anti-mage to counter the Storm Spirit. That is a classic pick, but is he the hero this patch? Storm is not that good, and if he gets countered by anti-mage, sure, but anti-mage is awful.
10 seconds to go.
Like, I can just see this laning stage play out right now, and I definitely favor VGJ's draft here. As for a draft, DC's kind of all over the place. They have like this huge pickoff potential in terms of the Tiny and Bat Rider, which will help create space for AM, but in terms of their laning, like AM against the Sand King and probably ROTK Doom, and he might just start jungle, as we saw in the last game, having FY start in the off lane instead. I mean, Jug Warlock is just going to do just fine against the Bat Rider, or any type of shenanigans they're going to run in the lane. It's probably just solo Bat. It could be Bat IO, who knows, but I'm assuming IO is going to go mid with Tiny mid. And their mid matchup is not the greatest either. I mean, Storm does get beat by the dual lane, but if he just lanes
Everybody
it
gets
correctly, I mean, he can do just fine. He can catch up in the jungle as well. The big thing is just getting his levels up, making sure he doesn't get zoned too hard. But with the Shrine available, with regen coming in from the Courier as well, extra salves and whatnot, I think he can just do just fine. We'll watch the mid lane pretty carefully, because I think it will be the most critical lane for DC. They need this Tiny and IO to have a good start, most notably the IO, and they need to just snowball. And we look at Wee's build right now, he's definitely going for it with the Boots of Speed, making sure that he has the extra move speed to help zone the Storm and keep him down in lane as much as he can. But I'm not looking to
30
a
seconds.
DC
to go.
win this game for sure. I think that VGA are going to 2-0 this, but we'll see as we get right into the game. Ward was dropped here by FY, so he's gonna have deep vision under the tower pretty much. Any rotations from the IO or any other heroes in this area, while DC placed a ward here, making sure they have vision over the rune. If you look at Wii now, he actually decided to go for the stout instead of the boots, realizing that he probably needs some damage block against the storm. It's going to send him a lot of right clicks, and Saksa looks like he's going to start top, because there is an aggressive tri-lane, and with anti-mage they're going to have to protect him. So no dual lane mid, and Storm is going to be 1v1 against Tiny, and I feel like Storm definitely has the favor in that matchup, and it is why Weehaw decided to go for the Stout Shield. So DC switching it up, but a defensive tri-lane with anti-mage, Io, and Rubik, that sounds god-awful, and we'll see how this lane goes. And the critical lane just went from mid lane to this top lane. Whoever wins this will probably win the game for sure. At least have a very good chance of winning lane. RTK is going to be left bottom against Moon Meander as the bat, and that's not the best lane for him, but he already has his magic stick up. He's able to do just fine. And if you look right now, Free is already giving Wii a pretty rough time in this mid lane. And will he still go for the boots here? That's the question. He's getting denied under his tower. I don't think this lane's gonna work out very good for Wii at all. But in the top lane, I mean, Rezo is doing just fine. Because the creeps are under his tower, he's able to just farm up relatively safely. But the thing is, both Io and Rubik, having their small camp block and they miss the D ward, they're enabled to get this pull off. And this is very important to them winning this game. Because they don't have that, their lane is just going to push in the favor of VG.J. VG.J is going to be able to farm up pretty safe under the tower. And once they all hit level 2 on these heroes, they definitely have kill potential onto DC. If this Io or Rubik gets caught out of position, they're dead for sure. Saksa did manage to get his bottle with passive gold, and I think he actually picked it up in the side shop there. And they call a sentry as well, so finally they'll get the D ward onto this small camp. It's pretty critical for them, but unfortunately for them, it won't respawn for another minute, so they're still not able to get the pull off. While we look at this side pull here, Aggressive is just going to farm over the creeps. So they get the side pull with the big camp, but it's not going to affect Aggressive at all, as he's just going to farm the creeps and even get extra gold from the neutrals as well. So, I mean, it brought the lane back in a position where Rezo can farm safely again, but in terms of shutting down, VG.J does not do much at all, and they don't have kill potential for sure on the side of DC. The only reason they're laning this as a tri-lane is just make sure that anti-mage doesn't get crushed. But now we see Saksa with his bottle will just go into the mid lane, thinking that Rezo and Misery can hold down this lane by themselves now with this small camp available once again. But unfortunately, he can only get a single pull-off. He's not going to be able to stack it for another 2 minutes. And now this camp is going to be blocked by VG.J, so the big camp is not available either. So they're doing a very good job of shutting down AM. They know that AM is not necessarily in the meta, but they definitely haven't forgotten how to deal with him. If you look at Rezo's farm, he's still doing just fine, but it's coming at the cost of Misery. And if you look in the mid lane now, Wii is actually doing very well against Freeze. Compared to the last game, he's keeping up right there in CS. I mean, he's getting harassed down a bit low, but with his Tiny, he's able to match up against Storm a lot better than the last game, where he was Jug against, or Ember against Jug. Looks like Saksa has rotated all the way down to the bot lane here, and Fender has done the same, realizing that he's not required in this top lane anymore once the IO has left. And even if the IO is still here, I think at this point Aggressive and FY can't hold down the lane by themselves. So neither team really making any type of early movement or like huge commitment. They decided to lane top, but they didn't do the best job at zoning Rezo out. I mean, they put pressure and they forced the supports there, but that's all they really did. In terms of Rezo's farm, he's right up there and comparable to Aggressive. And now it's a 1v1, and this is a pretty even matchup, Jug versus Anti-Mage. And maybe slightly Anti-Mage favors his ability to burn aggressive mana like this. And now Misery's gonna get the lift onto him under the tower, and Rezo might get the kill here. He blinks forward, but Misery does finish off the kill. Rezo in trouble now with FY coming in with the TP. His blink is still on cooldown for another 2 seconds, and it looks like with that self he's gonna be able to get himself away. So DC actually claiming the first blood here. Aggressive, playing a bit too aggressive under his tower, thinking that he can contest DC a little bit more with his Mango and Spin. Unfortunately, the physical damage from the Rubik and the Anti-Mage was enough to kill him during his Spin. And now they're going to use the lasso onto Freeze in the mid lane, and it won't be enough to kill him right away, which means we will get stunned by FY and taken out as a counter kill. 1-for-1 trade there in the mid lane. Freeze ended up dying to the fire, but that was a pretty deep dive there, and with a nice rotation from FY, once again claims a kill for his team. Almost got a kill onto Rezo there, but with that salve he was able to barely get himself away. It looks like they're gonna just go back to the safe lane, realizing that they can't really contest AM that well anymore. Really like Rezo's build right now, going for this full sustain, realizing that he will have a rough lane. Just look at him and how he's building the Ring of Health as well as the Ring of Regen. He just needs to be able to contest this lane, stay in lane, and get the last hits. And that build helped him do just that. And Aggressive will leave now and go to his safe lane once again, but we see DC picking up the aggression once again, running at Fenrir. They killed the healing ward. Nice 25 gold there, and it looks like Fenrir will be dead for sure, getting run down by this Bat Rider. And Moonmander is going for the drums build, just making sure he gets that extra move speed and tank.
Radiant's top tower.
So he needs to run down these heroes. FY again in position to place down a ward, and he does get it off. The ward was placed mid lane as well. This is actually looking to be a relatively good game for DC right now, as Aggressive's gonna get run at. Oh my.
Whoa, initiating killing spree mode.
4 points in Sticky Napalm, or 4 stacks on Sticky Napalm on him. They just run him down and right click him out. But now rotation coming in from Freeze as well as FY. They're gonna get 2 return kills here. It looks like Misery will go down. Oh no. There he is taken down. He is dead. Now Moonmander is going to die as well, but not without getting a kill onto FY first. However, he's not going to die actually, because Wii is going to come in to save his teammate, and he's going to get a kill onto Freeze. He did have a range drop there, so he survived a bit longer. But now IO coming in, and there's just a full bloodbath down this bot lane. FY is now back in. He got tossed up into the air, and Sticky Napalm stopping him from coming in. Oh my! Satyr Blast killing Moonmeander there. He won't die to enemy heroes, but he will die to neutrals. Now FY comes and gets tossed up in there once again, but Sandstorm will save him. And looks like Rezo found a kill onto RUTK in the top lane with the help of Misery and his lift. And DC is having a very good start to this game, and it's a start that they need for sure. IO is already up to level 5. However, relocates soon. Aggressive's relatively far behind. If you look at his CS, he's just fine, but if you look at his net worth, he's pretty far behind Rezo, just because of the amount of times he's died. And Saksa, with the experience from this wave, will have relocates very soon. In the mid lane, it looks like we got a lasso onto Freeze, and once again another kill for Moonmeander. He's doing work this game, and this is the power of the Bat Rider.
Radiant's mid tower could use a hand.
FY getting spotted,
and
he'll get himself away. He has Tranquils, he's fast enough to. ROTK building into a Hand of Midas, and we'll have it actually very shortly. It had pretty good farm in the safe lane against Bat, but look at the amount of kills that Moon has. It's pretty ridiculous. Aggressive resorting to just farming the jungle now. He is under a dire ward, and he needs to watch himself here. Fenrir given the space bot lane to make sure that he gets his Warlock Golem off, and now Aggressive just drawing a bunch of circles, pointing out exactly where DC is. And will they still fall for this DC gank? It doesn't look so. Manor doesn't have a blink yet, but no, he's going for FY. Drum charge pop, and he'll pop him back with the flame break as well as the dust. However, Warlock is here with his level 6. Doom is used onto Moon Meander. Aggressive actually gets tossed back onto the Rubik, but wasn't enough to save Moon, and Sun there will not connect onto the TPing. Who was that hero? Weeha? Yeah, I think it was Wee. He gets away back to the mid lane, and his IO. Or was it Rezo? It was Rezo. Rezo just gonna TP, not to base, but immediately into the bot lane. He's gonna start shoving it in, getting his farm up. He's gonna have his perseverance. Aggressive, running forward. He does have his Omni Slash, and he pops his one charge. However, he's gonna get lasso beforehand, and with the chain stun from Misery with his Burrow Strike, he gets taken out before he can cast any spell. And now ROTK in trouble as well, getting relocated on by Wii as well as Soxa. They find another kill on the side of DC, while this entire time Rezo has just been shoving in this bot lane and done a significant amount of damage to this tower. Well, not him, but this catapult has done. Soxa and Wii will appear back into the mid lane and continue to farm up. Wee's very close to his blink, and once he gets that, they're going to be able to play very aggressive. But where did Bat? What the heck was he here?
Radiant lost one of them.
Alright, Moon Meander was for some reason here, and he died. I don't know what he was doing here actually. He was trying to get a kill onto Freeze, but got turned around on him. And bit of a greedy play there for a solo kill, gets himself punished for it. But bot lane did die eventually. Did Rezo get the last hit there? Rezo did. Aggressive showing up, but he'll have to back himself away. He can't contest Resolution now. He's just going to get all his mana burn, which is going to be very annoying for him. Rezo's going to have a pretty good Battle Fury timing. I would say around like 14 to 15 minute mark. Considering that he got aggro tried, that's very good. Soxa meeting back up with Wii, who does have his blink now flying onto him on the courier, and Aggressive has to watch out here. It doesn't look like they're running at him right now, but now they see that he wasted his spin in the bot lane. They're looking for blood. Wii has his blink. He just needs to get on top of him, combo his spell. And they're not going for it. They're afraid that it's some type of bait. Instead, they're going to back themselves away, and a smoke was coming with Warlock Golem as well as Doom online. Warlock Golem was about 10 seconds on cooldown, but by the time they got there, pretty much would be up. And we not taking that bait in the bot lane. I mean, I feel like they could have killed him in time if they went immediately, but especially if they hesitated, it's definitely not a good idea to go for that kill. I mean, if you look at their vision, and they had no idea that VG.J were coming, so it definitely was just a safer play. Do that. We just look at overall net worth in this game. It looks like DC will have a slight advantage, but this is not enough. They still have to continue their snowball with their aggressive heroes, but the problem for them is they can't really take team fights. And they might be walking into one here. They need to get a good initiation. They get the combo off onto Storm. They take him out immediately. He has no way to come back into the game, no buyback to take this fight. And now they relocate out onto Moon as well, saving him from the Doom. And I didn't really mention that during the drafting stage, but Io is a hero that's very good against Doom. He can just heal up the target that gets Doom, or just relocate them out, as you saw there. And they're actually going to go back in. FY comes in with the stun, but it will whiff, and Misery gets the stolen stun, and FY just gets taken out. Storm is still dead, but he's respawning soon. They actually need to get themselves out here, maybe. Rezo got the kill onto ROTK there. He's going to get another kill onto Fenrir. Storm is back in the game. Aggressive is healing up under his shrine, but DC is all healing up slowly because of this IO. And Freeze not even going in there. So Warlock Golem was used, and they did not win a fight just because of how it started. They got the initiation onto the hero that pretty much was able to follow up a lot of the damage, or the stuns coming out from DC. Like, if Storm was alive there, they would have killed the Bat Rider for sure. And we taking out this mid tower. He'll get jumped by Freeze now, but Moonmeander is here. No Lazo, however, but the lift is enough, and the stolen Electric Vortex disables Storm enough for him to get taken out, and this is suddenly looking to be a very bad Storm game. Or DC coming off a pretty bad game 1 are going to be able to get back into the game, and they're dominating now VG.J in terms of this early game, and now relocate onto the bot lane. Fenrir getting taken out, and Rezo will have his Battle Fury now. It looks like we will just be taken back, will he?
Radiant's bottom tower.
There's a Juggernaut waiting. Yep, no. Saxa will get, or will go back alone and tether himself out to safety. FY about a bit more than halfway to his blink. RTK going a blink himself, but DC take a bottom tier 2. RTK pushing into the top lane.
Dyer's mid tower could use a little help.
Looking pretty good in terms of farm. Look, he almost has his blink, and he has a Hand of Midas as well, but DC just have such a big advantage in their heroes as well as item pickups in this early game stage. They got a blink on Bat now as well. He is out of jump charges, and DC are dependent on Anti-Mage to scale. So if they just lose a couple of team fights and then Anti-Mage gets shut out from farming, of course VG.J can come back into this game easily, but they're gonna have to find a good fight, and it's looking a bit tough for them now, just because of the initiation coming out from DC with 2 blinks now up on them. Moonmeander is scouting out with an Invis rune. RTK is in position to try to look for a kill here, but he's gonna run into a range creep, and he's spotted out. Misery is just sitting on his tower alone, and completely confident to fight against all these heroes. He gets blinked on by RTK, but with the Sandstorm he really gets himself out of danger for a little bit, but he's going to eat the Warlock Golem now, and FY going with Epicenter. This is looking to be a very good fight for VG.J. They get the kill onto the Batrider, they get the kill onto Wii as well as Io. 4 dead for DC, and a very good team fight for VG, setting that up perfectly. DC playing a bit cocky there, just sitting the Rubik under the tower, trying to bait some type of engagement from VG.J, but they underestimated the team fight potential from VG.J if they don't get the initiation off. So Rubik got initiated on, they got the Doom off, they got the Epicenter. Now FY has the blink, and they're looking very good in this game. Of course, Anti-Mage is still farming pretty much freely, but with that 4-man wipe as well as the tier 1, I say VG.J is going to be pretty happy about that one. And Freeze is going to be building closer and closer to his plus zone. Of course, Rezo is still a huge problem, and they did use a lot of teamfight ultimates there, so they're not going to be able to fight again, while DC can fight almost immediately. The only thing they used there was relocate, and it's about to be off cooldown, about 30 seconds. They used Lasso as well, but that's also 30 seconds off cooldown. It looks like Weehaw will be building into an Echo Saber, so he can get an extra right click in. It is a lot of damage, as well as some extra mana for your Tiny, which is pretty useful for him. And look at Rezo, he's building into a Manta style, and I would say he's going to have it around like the 20-minute mark, 21-minute mark. Saxa and Misery, just 2 supports alone in the top lane. You gotta watch out here. FY is looking to set up on them, however, he doesn't have the mana. Now he's gonna run into Saxa, gets that right click on him, giving him that caustic finale. He's actually gonna go for the max Sandstorm build. Not a usual build you see from Sand Kings nowadays, but he is a support Sand King, and the Sandstorm does help him get out of danger as well as farm up the jungle as well. RTK still farming up very well after that one team fight. He's picked up his blink and has another 2,700 gold. However, in the bot lane, they get to relocate onto Freeze. My bad for missing that one, but they get the lasso, they relocate, and they finish off the Storm Spirit. And I feel like DC have a very strong hold on the map at this point in the game, just of how far ahead they are. They're about I mean, they're actually not even that far ahead, just 2,500 gold in net worth, but they have their core items. And if you look at the net worth on the Tiny, I mean, it's not that great. Moonmeander is not that great either, but they're just stronger at this point in the game, and that's all they need. With Anti-Mage being able to farm up pretty much freely, and they're going to be able to take over a lot of the map. Moonmeander running into FY here, eats a stun, but he's just going to TP himself back to base, refill his mana. Tiny will be going for an Aghanim Scepter. This Misery is farming, and you just look at how DC are able to farm the map right now. They're just completely split. They're not worried about VG.J at all, and mostly it's because of how far Freeze is behind in terms of farm. If he was more farmed, maybe has his Bloodstone complete at this point, he can really risk a kill onto a lot of these heroes trying to split push, but because of him only having this treads and the point booster, it's not enough for him to go for these kills. If anything, it's going to get turned around on him with the IR relocating in, and it's off cooldown once again. Aggressive is building into a battle fear. They're going to go for a farm game. They're trying to take this late. This is not a build you see from Jug often at all, but they realize they need to catch up and farm with AM, and they still can. Of course, Storm has a pretty bad matchup against AM. I guess Jug does okay. But against Tiny, he's getting strong himself.
Radiant's top tower is taking hits.
The thing they have for them is ROTK is really farmed. He's about to have his Shivas soon. TC grouped up as 4 in the top lane. Moonmare is actually bot, waiting for any hero to come. He can come in with the lasso, relocate will come in as well, but VG.J just grouped up mid. It's 5 smoked up actually. They're just going to push in. They're not going to go for this top tower defense. Instead, they're going to try to pressure this tier 1 mid, and it looks like they will get it. The fort will be used. Rezo TPing into the bot lane. Moonmander is going to show himself onto the creep wave. And looks like they're going to go 1 for 1 in terms of towers. The rest of DC are still positioned in the top lane. Looks like he wants to go for another wave, and VG not backing off either, pushing into the tier 2. And Rezo can't actually be with them right away. They actually go top, look for a pickoff onto the retreating heroes in the top lane. However, they barely miss them, and they get away just in time. And now Rezo continuing to farm up. He has his completed Mantis style now, and he's probably going to be building into a... I was going to say Vlad's, just make use of this during a region, but it was just a casual pickup for a lane. He might build it later, but he's going for an Axe, and it's going to be a very good item. There's a lot of single target spells on the side of VG.J, and just imagine Juggernaut Omni slashing him, and then he Omni slashes Jug back. Oh my, that's actually really good. But that's like a super item for him in this game actually. Our Misery gets jumped on, but he stole Ball Lightning. However, he's not going to have the opportunity to use it as FY comes in with a stun. And Rezo gets himself away to not get picked off by that. And that's going to help Freeze get closer to his Bloodstone. It's a pretty late Bloodstone for him, and with Rezo having this Aghanim's come out, it's going to be a very hard pickoff. He's reaching unkillable. He hasn't died once this game, and once he gets that Axe, I don't see him dying actually. As the thing is, the spells that they can use to pop his Aghanims is pretty devastating if he reflects them. All the spells, like, they can use the Fatal Bonds, but that means he's just going to reflect Fatal Bonds back on them. I guess the Shadow Word is probably what they want to pop it with. Because they don't want Sand King to get stunned. If he Burrow Strikes Rezo, Rezo's just going to Burrow Strike him back. And he's not even going to get Burrow Striked. If you don't know how this Aghanim works, it's not very common pickup on AM. Or AM is not a very common hero, and it's also not a common pickup on him. It reflects a spell. It's like a Lotus Orb and Lincoln, so it reflects the spell and he casts it back. And he'll have his Ags very soon. Once he gets that, I think DC can just go and fight. I'll probably wait for Tiny's Axe as well. And of course, they can't just run straight into VG.J. They'll just run into Teamfight Ultimates. They still gotta get a pick off some here and there, but once they have that, they're gonna play very aggressive, forcing VG.J to completely 5-man. There's no way that any hero can split off because they're just gonna get run at by DC, and there's just nothing they can do about it. AM is gonna be untouchable. He's already untouchable at this point, but with Ags for sure. And now VG.J gonna go for another 5-man smoke, looking for a kill. Misery has an Invis, so he can just scout this out. They're gonna watch themselves, but RDK leading with his Shiva's Guard and his Blink is gonna try to start with a Doom here. And if he can get this is very good if he can get it on AM. And they might kill him. They will get him. dead before his team can arrive in time. The lasso will be used onto aggressive. He's going to be pulled onto the high ground where the Tiny is, but Storm will jump in, immediately focus the IO. Very good target choice from him, and now he's going to take down Wii. The shrine is popped, but it will not save Moonmander. I don't think he's going to get himself. He needs to get himself over the cliff, but his Firefly will, and they see him on this high ground, and they will take him out. Full 4-man wipe for the side of VG, the only survivor being Misery. He had the Invis rune there, he walked out, but very good play. It's going to be a Rosh for them as well, and that's a lot of Bloodstone charges for Freeze there. That was right after picking up his Bloodstone. And Rezo just farming this mid lane, not expecting that to come. And he have his Agnums. That probably would be a changed fight, but because he does not have it yet, VG.J utilizing that opportunity to get that full 4-man wipe and a Rosh. And once again, a similar situation happened last game where I felt like DC were doing just fine in the game, and just one good play from VG.J is turning the game back in their favor. Look at the net worth now. It's going to swing back up the side of VG.J, and DC never even had that big of advantage to begin with, only about 7,500, and that was squandered in this top fight here. And the thing is, sure, you can get pickoffs all over the map, you can get a bunch of kills, but if you can't win these team fights, which their draft is not designed to do, then you're still going to have a problem, especially once it comes to trying to end the game, of course. So eventually you got to go high ground. Now they picked a gem up onto Misery. They get the lasso as well onto Freeze, and he does have the Aegis here, so this might be a bad fight for them. He's just going to jump forward, and who's actually going to jump forward? He's going to go for Weehaw instead of the IO. IO is still dead to Fenrir, and now they get the kill onto Wii. They get the kill onto Misery as well. Gem is on deck, but they don't see it. Pick it up. They're going to deward this ward as well. They suspected there was vision there if they initiated on the storm like that. I'll actually tick down to the either the Fatal Bonds or the Shadow Word. And suddenly VG.J looking very good. And if Moonmander knows the gem is here, he can pick it up. They actually don't see the gem because he died all the way off to the side to the damage over time, I believe. No, he actually died to his storm. I don't know why they don't pick up that gem. Actually, Creeps will see it now. Will they ping it out? It's getting pinged out. Right, Io's really oh, he doesn't have relocate. He can relocate, just pick it up and get himself away. But come on, this gem is actually a pretty big deal, honestly. And they can just give it to Storm. That's so much map control. Misery's going on a secret mission. Let's see him. He wants this gem. Is he gonna get it? Alright, that's he just gets his gem. Gem recovered. Everything is Gucci. We are salvaged. But jokes aside, this is still not a very good game for DC. Once AM gets his axe, we'll have it now. He's building into a butterfly next. They have a chance of fighting, but it looks like they've kind of missed their timing window. And it's kind of weird to say, but around this mark is when you want to kind of end the game with AM. But because they lost that big fight, 2 fights in a row actually, they're definitely hurting.
Do something about that bottom tower.
We just look at net worth now, and Doom is up there, Jug is up there as well, and AM is their only hope for DC right now. I guess Weehaw still has time to grow. He has his Agnums coming out, but I don't think Tiny is the best scaling hero in this patch, especially against Storm, Jug, Dome, Sand King, Warlock. It gives him a rough time.
The Dire best do something about that bottom tower.
Of course, he still has an IO, and his damage potential is huge if he can get the damage out, but they're relying on only like the lasso, his own like low duration stun, and the Rubik lift, and stolen spells from Misery, of course. But on the side of VG.J, they got the access to Sand King, the Doom, Warlock ult. They have so much team fight, and if VG.J just play it back safe, don't get picked off all over the map. Now they have a BKB in the Doom. That's gonna make him pretty much unkillable in these fights. He can just run in there and man up. DC going for a 5-man smoke, and they might catch Freeze here. Can he jump out in time? He does, but no, the lift comes in from Misery, the lasso as well. Warlock Golem comes down, however, he does get taken out by the ultimate coming out of Rezo, but he's respawning in 4 seconds. Io gets taken out, Doom gets used on Weehaw, he is dead for sure. Storm can come back in at any time he wants, but he actually doesn't have a TP. He's going to go for the long jump, but it won't hit onto anyone. However, FY catching a hero gets Misery. He's out of mana now, but he does have his blink away. It looks like they'll only lose 2 for 1 there. And they'll keep their gem as well, but I would say still a pretty good fight for VG.J. They're totally fine with that. They lose their Storm. Sure, that's a little bit bad for him, but he has a Arcane Rune bottled actually. This is actually pretty scary for DC at this point in time where their heroes are dead. So they actually all sit in base right now. They're running straight toward Rezo, trying to push out this bot wave that he's shoved in. Storm is looking for something, but it doesn't look like he'll get anything. He really wants to take a fight with this Arcane Rune. But unfortunately, their ults are on cooldown. Looks like Soxa has built into a mech. So as for the Io, he's pretty farmed himself, but as you saw, he did get focused there and taken out pretty quickly. Aggressive is very farmed now. He has the Mantis style as well as his blink online after his Battle Fury, and pretty classic build from Jug, and it's really doing good with this game. The extra physical damage is definitely required against the anti-mage, as his Maelstrom is not going to do that much against him because he does have the spell shield as well as the Rubik with the no field aura as well. It looks like Moonmander as well as Misery smoked up. They are the initiators of the team. Soxa is with Weehaw. They can relocate and join any time. Anti-Mage can blink in as well. So just a 2-man smoke here, looking for a play. They know that the ults on the side of VJ are still on cooldown, but VJ know that as well. They're just playing back, not taking any risk. But as I say that, they walk up and get lassoed. However, immediate initiation coming, counter initiation coming from FY gets the stun onto Moonmander. Omnisash is bouncing through. They kill Io, they kill Moonmander. The gem is on deck. RDK pops his BKB. He's just manning up. Anti-Mage can't deal with him. Now Freeze comes in once again. However, stolen Omnisash coming out of Misery, but tanked up entirely by RDK. They lose Weehaw as well. Misery gets himself away, and so does Rezo. But they lose another 3 heroes in that fight, and Storm gets the fight he wanted with his Arcane Rune. Now he has his gem and 14 Bloodstone charges. He's feeling pretty happy for himself. Rezo still doing good in terms of farm. He has his Bastion now that's going to give him extra disable, as his team is lacking it. Aggressive building into a Scotty just to tank up, and Fenrir with almost an Ags complete on him. He also has had a Midas for a while as well. If you look at net worth now, it's finally swung in the favor of VG.J. And Resolution will have his Butterfly quite soon. For Misery, he's building into a Yule Scepter. Io wants his Greaves, but he's nowhere near it, and he's getting taken out in all these fights. These are simply not the fights that they want. VG are always playing together, and sure, they got a lot of these pickoffs in the early game. They were looking very good, but at this point in time, if VG just stick together, fight with their ultimates, they're going to be able to win every fight, and that was a fight without ultimates. They didn't use the Epicenter, they didn't use the Doom there, or the Warlock Golem, and they still got a 3-man wipe there. Misery blinking in, he wants to, I'm not sure where he's going actually. He's gripping up his team. VG shoved in the top lane there, but they didn't commit to it. They're just going to go back, farm up the jungle, shove in the mid-wave with these Jug illusions, and they are ready to fight. There's AC coming out for RTK soon. He's very farmed. He's more farmed than we by a significant amount, and we is just about the same farm as Freeze. And for the good start that he had, that's not very good, as he's died a lot of times in these fights. He kind of goes in, and once tiniest burst damage is not enough to kill a hero anymore, he kind of just falls off. And you're gonna depend to the anti-mage to carry this game now, because we feels like he's kind of underwhelming. He's building into a BKB to make sure that he can survive in these fights, but even with the BKB, he still runs the risk of dying to the rest of the damage coming out of VG.J. So I don't think that BKB is enough. Here, a long jump onto Moonmander. He gets the blink out and the force, and he'll still get caught by Freeze, but Freeze has used all his mana, but no one here is to save him. Moonmander is dead, left for dead by his team, while we, as well as Soxa, just shoving the top lane. Our OTK almost caught out Soxa there, but TP'd out just in time. We will get out as well. It's up to DC just to play a rat game right now. They need to rat and they need we to get pickoffs, but with this build, it's oriented towards team fighting. I feel like you should have just went all in for going with the pickoff. Even if VG doesn't split off, they still determine the game on being able to just split the map.
Trouble brewing at Radiant's bottom tower.
So if VG are going to stay as 5, they don't want a team fight. They just want to split still and make VG.J split up by splitting. It doesn't look like Wee's gonna go with that strategy. Instead, it's gonna go for the Black King bar and try to take a team fight. And I mean, if they take a good team fight off of it, it's definitely worth it. But I don't feel like BKB is enough for him. He's been also getting doomed in a lot of these fights, and he gets BKB'd and doomed. I mean, there's only so much you can do. Roshan has spawned. Aggressive has picked up his full Scotty. If you look at net worth now, it's swinging back in favor of DC a bit. That's just because of how they're able to flash farm the map. VG.J has to play a bit more grouped up because of the global lineup of DC. And I think they know something is up right now. They're shoving in the bot wave, but they still don't have eyes on VG at all, and they don't have eyes on this Rosh pit. And it looks like VG.J are going to be able to claim Rosh for free here. Weehaw finally stepping up boldly onto the high ground, doing work onto this tier 3. The fort is used to prevent him taking the tower, and now that they see it, Rosh has been taken. FY finds initiation onto Soxa, however, Epicenter used there, and it will be cancelled immediately by Misery. Misery stole it himself and then canceled it too because he thought he got Burrow Strike, I think. And a bit of a funny play there. Will IOTP himself out? No, he will not. And he will get finished off by Freeze. Nice Bloodstone charge for him. There he is, the gem. He has the Bloodstone. He's building to a Lincoln. So once he gets that, he doesn't have to worry about anti-mage's mana void anymore. And now Moonmander just still looking for a kill in this bot lane. They got this award as well, but it doesn't look like since the early game VG.J have been giving opportunities for them to get the pickoffs they did before. He was just playing solid, tight as a group. They lost a lot of kills to DC in the early game where it was pretty high aggression coming out of their heroes, but they're able to slow down the game, bring it back into the pace that they want it to, and they're just playing their game. Anti-mage, of course, is a pretty big threat, and this game is by far over for either side, but I would say VG definitely have the advantage of their ability to team fight. DC still have the ability to win, but they're going to have to rely on their ratting abilities. They have the heroes to do it, and I feel like they should utilize this AHAM to do a lot of aggressive pushing with his Aghanims and force VG.J to split up so that they can get a chaotic team fight. Pretty much, they can't have VG.J set up. They need to create the same environment as they had in the early game, where VG.J kind of were just linking it in one at a time. They either picked off a hero before VG.J were ready to respawn, or just force them all over the map and cause them to go in like one at a time. If VG.J are all prepared for a fight and use all their spells, it's pretty unlikely that DC can win at that point in time. You see here Freeze jumping in deep to try to get a kill, and doesn't catch Moonmander. However, he'll catch Wee. Io does have relocate to bring him out, and he gets it off. FY could have stunned him there, but he was in fog and they didn't see him coming, and it looks like Io will die once again. Can he get the TP out? He's gonna try it. Actually, that might have been enough. Oh no, it was a bit too early, and he gets himself taken out.
He's now dominating. He's dominating, Rick.
Almost good timing there. That looks close, but not quite, not quite. That's very hard to get off. Aki, or it was either Aki or no, not Aki. Who's it? HEM actually got it twice in one game. Like, that's some Swedish, like, timing there. I don't know. Alright, Fender in a pretty bad position here, just in the trees. However, is this a bait? It's not a bait. His team is nowhere near. Can he get his golem off in time? Oh my! Epicenter comes in from FY. Unfortunately, the golem didn't come off in time. Now they're gonna just lose 3.
Double kill.
That was a really bad fight for VG.J. They should have just left Fenrir to die and called it that, but now they lose 3 heroes, and DC are right up to the high ground, and this tower is already low. There's no fort either. They might just have lost a set of racks here. And the racks is already gone. Buyback comes in from aggressive, but I feel like they should just give the racks away. Of course, the Storm still has the Aegis. He wants to use it, but Rax is going to be gone. Doom is used, but I don't think Rezos cares. He's still manning up. They kill the Doom, and now Storm will just have to jump himself away. Rezo is low HP, but he's doing just fine. And VG were just playing so good all game, but all it takes is one critical error like that, and suddenly their set of racks is gone. And now their shrine will be as well. Aggressive bot back there for pretty much no reason. That's gonna hurt his farm a lot. If you look at that swing, it's about a 5,000 gold swing or more. No, that's more than that. So 7,000, 8,000 gold swing there. They're gonna shrine back up, and Doom is dead for 40 seconds. No ultimate on Doom. No, they got Warlock ultimate. Omni Sash is cooling down as well. As Epicenter is up. So DC just fine, but now if they get a pick off onto aggressive, this game might just be over, and Moonmeter is in position to do so. He gets a lasso. Oh no, aggressive. Warlock ultimate comes down to save him. Can he get out of this one? He cannot. It looks like he will die. Manta Style does stall it for a bit longer, but now he's dead for 100 seconds. No buyback, and this might just be gamed off of one critical error. And that is the strength of an IO lineup. I mean, not IO, but I guess Tiny. I don't really do much there. Oh, Epicenter will come in by FY. Freeze jumping in, finding the kill onto Misery. Now he's going to focus onto IO next. Weehaw is falling quite low. They try to use the Mana Void, but it gets blocked by the Lincolns. Weehaw will get taken out. The stun does whiff onto Resolution. Now they're going to get Moonmeter. However, Ghost Scepter will save his life. Freeze is in a bit of trouble. Mana Void is coming off cooldown once again. It's pretty low cooldown. That is 20 seconds. Holy cow, what the fuck? Oh, it's talent. Oh my. That's pretty good talent against Storm Spirit, in all honesty. And now that Ghost Scepter saving Moon for now, he gets the Mana Void onto FY. It is not enough to kill him. He does go invis, and there's no detection on Rezo. The gem is on the ground, and instead he's just gonna blink into the mid lane and start hitting the racks. However, he's gonna eat a Doom. FY going invis once again. Freeze is back alive, and Rezo overstayed his welcome. He's gonna man up and try to work on ROTK, but he will get taken out by him. And now Gem is on the ground. They got the Gem back on the side of VG.J. They saved their mid-racks, even with aggressive dead for 100 seconds. And I don't think they had to use a buyback themselves. It was just Storm Spirit respawning with a low timer. So Fenrir does have his Agdams and a Glimmer now, and the Glimmer being pretty critical to them surviving that fight. And DC, I would say, overstayed their welcome. They thought that they could end the game off of that pick-off on aggressive. I thought they could as well, but there was too much team fight coming out of VG.J. Storm with the shrines jumping in over and over again was able to pick off their backline, take them quite low, and I think the hero that actually did the most work there was the Fatal Bond, bringing everyone so low in that fight, as well as the double golems coming out as well. And they show that they can defend even without aggressive. So misstep, losing their bot racks. I guess we're seeing another kill here onto RDK, but he's too tanky with the healing ward. He's able to heal back up, relocate, brings them back to base, and Freeze jumps in trying to find a straggler, and he will find Misery, but gets to the other side of the tree line. No more mana left on him, but can FY get this one? It doesn't look so, as Misery's blink will go off cooldown once again. So RTK almost getting taken out there, his team being there just in time to save him. Rezo is still dead. He's just respawning now, and Doom is building a refresher. He won't have it for a while. It's quite an amount of gold to have it, especially if he wants to have buyback as well. But DC gonna work on VG.J's top shrine here. Rezo pretty much maxed out at this point. He has the moon shard as well. The only thing he can really do is replace his battle fear with something. But it's kind of useful for pushing out the waves like this. I mean, look at that. As for VG.J, aggressive still has pretty much one item slot he can fill, and it looks like he wants to fill it with a butterfly. And Storm Spirits has a lot of room to grow as well. He can build into that bloodstone. What is his talents actually? 40 attack speed, 20 damage. That makes all sense here. His level 25 talent's kind of ass. As you go for a 10% spell amp. Would you even go for that this game? Probably. That's pretty significant damage implication if he just jumps in from long range with ball lightning. Those tiniest talents here. 14 mana regen. Only went for the attack speed, 45 damage. Pretty dope. 6 strength. Of course, avalanche damage or cooldown reduction. I think you go with the cooldown reduction. What is 500 damage after reduction? What's he gonna do? Alright, Wisp gets jumped here. He gets taken out immediately. Aggressive chopping him. Freeze will actually get the kill there. And Io gotta watch himself the entire game. He doesn't have any defensive item either. No Ghost Scepter. No Glimmer. I guess Glimmer won't help him as Storm does have the gem. Oh, they find the lasso onto Fenrir here, but there's no follow-up. No relocate coming in because Io is dead. And I'm just gonna pause the game. Rezo has to disconnect. Pretty close game from VG.J and DC. A lot closer than the last game, of course. This game has never swung past a 7,500 net worth advantage for either side, and it has swung back and forth multiple times here. What is Sand King's talents? +4 plus epicenter pulses or 50 health regen. I think you go with the 50 health regen, right? What is that gonna do? 4 plus 4 of them. It's like 440 more damage. Like, I mean, it's extra slow. It's pretty cool. Does it increase the radius though? Like, I'm assuming it does, right? So it increases the radius to 700.
Alright, carry on.
It looks like it's about 50 increase, so it'll go to 750, 850, and then 900, 1,000 AoE. Lol. That's actually huge, by the way. Yeah, maybe you go that. That's pretty sick. That sounds pretty sick. Alright, we see a bit of a fight here. Weehaw in a bit of trouble. He gets stunned up. Force Staff brings him out. However, he gets doomed up. Nice! Blink Stomp by RTK. He also refreshes. Now he's his second Doom online. However, he doesn't have mana at this point. They need to mana boot him or something. And Misery gets taken out. We will get away. The help of the Io relocating him out in time. And they're going to sit back here and kill the Io, so they'll lose both their supports. Roche is up, and keep in mind, RTK didn't use the second Doom there, so they have the Doom ready to fight, and without the Io to help them sustain during that Doom or get them out of danger, it looks like they'll have to give Roche away to VG.J. 1,000 AoE epicenter is like this big, but that's only on the last pulse. It's like literally this area. This entire area. Like, what the fuck? And Rezo starting to fall off now. I mean, AM is strong against Storm, but AM himself doesn't scale as well as these heroes. I mean, sure he can against the Juggernaut, but against Doom as well, Warlock. He has to fight against these golems. I mean, there's a lot of things he has to deal with, and sure he can get pretty strong, but the rest of his team, because they lack the team fight, rely on him to kind of just 1v5 pretty much, and he's not able to do so against these heroes. Doom has cheese on deck. He has his Doom up as well. It looks like DC drawing a line. They're looking for some type of play here. This is where they won the fight and got that bot set of racks, and it looks like they'll initiate onto aggressive. He does have the Aegis. How long can he survive here? He has doesn't have buyback actually. He swap his blinkers, are gonna blink out. It looks like he's gonna die twice here. Freeze no jumps in onto Io. Aggressive gets his spin off, and they get a nice stun in from FY. No epicenter used quite yet. Warlock Golem drop. Doom is used onto Weehaw. He's getting chopped down by aggressive, and he will bite the dust. And now Rezo in bit of trouble. He's getting chased down by aggressive, but gets the blink away. Reflects the stun there from FY, and Aghanim saving his life there. Misery still in the trees. He has a Lincoln Sphere. It's pretty dope. He's a lot of farm. Let's see. Looks like, oh, get him away. Just gonna use the Cloud. He doesn't want to just use the stun on the Lincolns and waste it there. And so he'll pop the Lincolns and they'll get the kill. 3-4-0 on the side of VG.J. And they lost the Aegis there, but that was all. Warlock Golems pushing in, and once these Warlock Golems get magic immune, holy cow. Commander was just shoving in the top lane. Looks like this tier 2 will fall for sure. Freeze up to 19 Bloodstone charges, and it looks like he's building into a Bloodstone as his next item pickup. I don't see them pushing high ground at this point. They use their ultimates, and they need to wait for them to get off cooldown. RTK is just farming up the top wave. This 80 plus Devour bonus gold actually is so legit. He's gotten so much farm at this point in the game because of it. And he's a pretty late game beast as an offlaner, or even as a jungler support position. And now Freeze will have his Bloodthorn up. Rezo building into Boots of Travel 2, and he's building into a Bloodthorn himself, realizing they need extra disable against this Storm. They're simply not able to touch him in every single fight. He's able to just go in there deep, take out the IO very early. Weehaw eats the Doom, and without the IO, the Doom is, or the Tiny is not nearly as strong. FY building into a Shadow Blade that's going to help them get the pickoffs that they need. As for Fenrir, he has his own refresher, and this is huge. Their team fight is incredibly strong at this point in time, and I actually don't know how DC go about this game. They need to get the rat play. They need to split up VG.J, and they were pretty split up here with aggressive all the way in the bot lane, but just their initiation range is so far. Sure, they have relocate on the IO, giving them global range, but with the blinks and all these heroes, the Storm with a lot of Bloodstone charges, a lot of mana, just make those long leaps. They can reinforce their teammates from a very long distance away. And that's pretty bad for DC, as they're relying on getting these solo pickoffs. They're relying on outnumbering VG.J and picking them off all alone. And FY, say, played very well this game. His stuns were always on point. Didn't give the stun away to Misery much either, because he put points in Sandstorm very early. Made sure to use it almost immediately after he gets his Burrow Strike off. Very good play from him this game. Of course, it is FY's God's legendary Sand King, and now he's scouting out with his Shadow Blade. Is there a gem on the side of DC anymore? They do not have a gem, I don't think. Yeah, they do not. Aggressive does have his completed Butterfly now, and he's very strong. You saw he could just man up to AM there, and he's building into a BKB himself. Not so sure why. And not much magic damage on the side of DC at this point in time. It's mostly the physical damage output from the Tiny. I'm not sure if he's actually going to go with that one, but interesting item in his queue. Maybe he just wants a casual BKB so he can hit racks or something. They still have a lasso for that. DC shoving in this bot wave as well as mid. I think VG.J just want this top tier 2. They'll have to go back to defend their racks. It's already being worked on by Rezo, and if they don't get back fast enough, they're going to lose the racks here. It looks like they will. He's jumping in, clearing out the illusions. Top tower did get taken out by creeps. And all of VG.J back in their base. And this is the thing, VG.J can win every fight at this point in time, but they can't really afford to go high ground if Anti-Mage is just going to be split pushing, Batrider can split push as well. They're just going to lose their base slowly, and with Anti-Mage having the ability to cut creep waves as well, and he's very hard to kill at this point, with the Aghanims of course. I wonder how they're going to handle it. Because Storm can't really jump him alone. Both of the things he can use to pop the Aghanims on the Anti-Mage is going to disable himself and prevent him from pursuing. They've been doing a very good job of popping it with like the Shadow Word on Fenrir though. Where Storm jumps in with the TP on Doom. Bye bye IO. Misery gets himself away with the Invis Rune, but I don't think they spotted him there. They also had no gem. So yeah, their gem is on Sand King at this point, so they didn't spot him. Now FY popping the Aghanims with the Force Staff. However, Bloodthorn coming out from Rezo, saving him. Now they're going to try to initiate once again with FY, but his team is not close enough, so he didn't feel confident going in there. He didn't also know the cooldown on the Anti-Mage's Ags. He didn't want to just stun himself and maybe die there, beating the gem away back to DC. Well, they'll probably not lose the gem, but he'll definitely die. He doesn't have buyback either.
Dire's mid towers having
It looks like VG.J want to actually go mid, but they realize that they're just going to get ratted. So instead, they're going to fake going mid, send FY to scout out in the bot lane, and looks like he can initiate now, and he'll get the stun. Rezo gets the blink away just in time. They could have went for Moon, but they wanted the more important target, and instead, they don't get either. Very fast reaction times on Rezo there. As soon as he saw his Aghanims got popped, he blinked away, getting himself to safety. So smart play by VG.J. Unfortunately, it won't work out for them, but this is what they need to do at this point. They can't just afford to go push. That's how they lose the game for sure. And now Doom gets initiated on by all of DC. However, he gets his BKB off, and will he get his Doom off as well? He does get it off onto Rezo, and now he's going to buy it back. Warlock Golems are doing work, however Tiny is doing work as well, taking out FY. Fenrir falls low, Glimmer will save his life, and all 5 are dead on the side of DC, except for Moon Meander, except he will die now. And now all 5 will be dead. Buyback had to be used by ROTK, FY did die, but a very good fight for VG.J, finally having the team fight that they've been looking for. A lot of these heroes will have buyback, however. I don't think they can end the game off of this, but they'll definitely force buybacks for sure. There you see the buyback from Moon Meander, buyback from Weehaw. They want to just limit the amount of buybacks they use, but now Misery will use his. And I think this will be enough to force VG.J away. The Mjolnir on Weehaw actually doing work that fight. He was able to do a ton of damage there. Of course, RTK had to buy back there, but I mean, does he really care that much? He's pretty much 6 slotted, and at this point in time, he's fine with just using buyback for that. Now, Jug is actually 7 slotted with a casual Manta in his backpack. He actually did go for that BKB, which is gonna actually mitigate a lot of the damage now that Tiny went for a Mjolnir. And make sure that you also can just constantly right click, not get disabled by Rubik or Tiny. Roshan is spawning very soon, and FY in position. Scout any heroes walking up. He's pretty safe. The Dire Ward is on the other side, and it won't spot him there. RTK's Dooms won't be online. Well, his first Doom will be online in about 30 seconds, and about 60 for his refresher. Roshan is a pretty big deal now for both teams, as DC has used a lot of buybacks, or VG.J has used a buyback on RTK as well. FY going on the high ground here just to scout out for wards, and there's actually no gem on the side of DC right now, which is potentially a pretty big deal. FY will find a ward to get himself out very quickly. The Bloodthorn and Rezo is probably why Aggressive decides to go for the BKB. Actually, definitely helps to remove that, makes it a non-factor. And now we're going to see a full team fight break out. Io tries to relocate out Rezo, but he doesn't get him out in time. Weehaw is dead. No buyback on him. That's a dieback. Rezo buys back in, but there's no fighting now. Saksa is going to die as well. He's going to relocate back into the middle of all of them, and then he's going to commit the Warlock ult for him, and he will get taken out. No buyback on Moonmander. No buyback on Weehaw. Roche is up, but I don't think they care about that. They're going to take this 5v2 and try to end the game off of it. And if Rezo dies, this game is going to be over for sure. Saksa was so close to getting him away there, but he died too fast.
Dire's mid towers having technical difficulties.
They did such a good job of focusing Rezo there in that fight. And now Freeze has a full Hex flying to them, and they're just going to try to end the game. This is BKB Golems here. Aggressive pushing out the bot lane to make sure no rat play happens. Warlock Golem just going to be dropped into misery to keep him back. And alright, RTK going to get jumped on. The Force Staff going to get him away. Now Rezo's going to get focused, Doom onto him, and they were going to call GG. This game is over. VG.J take this series 2-0 against DC, knocking them out of Starseries Season 3, and will continue forward in the bracket to play against what I believe to be Wings. Yeah, Wings. I think tomorrow or today, who knows. And we'll keep these casts coming. Very impressive play by VG.J there. It's good to see FY and his team back in form. Of course, FY Fenrir, legendary support duo, and they did work this game. I would give FY MVP for this team, honestly. In this game especially, his burst strikes were always on points. If it wasn't given to FY, I would say ROTK is next up. The fact that they're able to pop the Lincolns, pop the magic shield from the anti-mage, I don't know what it's even called, the Aghanims, get the Doom off on anti-mage, get the Doom off onto Tiny, and all these fights, making sure that they have the advantage, shutting out these heroes. The team fight was too strong. DC kind of played the game wrong. They won the early game pretty handedly, and just taking bad team fight after bad team fight, VJ were able to eke their way back in, and it still was a very rough game for them, but they were able to clutch it out in the end and get a couple of good game-winning team fights and win the game. Of course, VG.J did have that pretty big error in the bot lane, losing their racks, but they recovered from it perfectly and secured the victory at the end of the day. We'll see you guys in the next video, and hope to see more of VG.J.